Wednesday afternoon, a column went up at The Athletic arguing that coaching Caitlin Clark is the hardest job in the WNBA. Then, somebody inside the Fever's own building shared it. Not a rival, not a radio host. Lin Dunn, the Hall of Famer who drafted Clark #1, the woman Clark called my everything just 6 weeks ago. Saturday night at Barclays Center, Clark takes the floor carrying that. The column itself wasn't the explosion. Columns like that get written every week now. The explosion came from one click, a repost, from the account of a senior advisor to the Indiana Fever. Within minutes, Clark's fans found it, screenshotted it, and started asking the only question that mattered. Why is a Fever employee amplifying this? One fan put it plainly. He wrote that he had no issue with the article itself. But why is a Fever employee reposting it? Nobody had a good answer. The team didn't offer one. Dunn didn't either. The piece blamed Clark's defense for the Portland collapse, 100-84 loss, where the column claimed Clark handed Carla Late a clear lane to 18 points. It framed Clark's spotlight as a burden Stephanie White has to carry. The hardest job in the league because of her. Buried in that column is one specific phrase about Caitlin Clark. 5 words. A sitting duck during hunting season. Read it twice, then remember who chose to share it. To understand why this one cuts deeper than anything Dan Dakich ever said into a microphone, you have to understand who Lin Dunn is to this franchise. She's been part of the Fever since 2004. 4 years later, she took over the bench, and in 2012, she coached Indiana to the only championship in franchise history. The Women's Basketball Hall of Fame called her name. Players revere her. Fans revere her. Then came the second act. Dunn returned in 2022 to run basketball operations as general manager, and in April of 2024, with the #1 pick, she drafted Caitlin Clark. Her last great act as an executive was bringing the most important player in the sport to Indiana. That October, she stepped back into a senior advisor role, the franchise's elder stateswoman, 78 years old, still in the building. The woman who picked Clark, the woman who hugged her in training camp. That's whose account shared the hit piece. Here's the part that makes Wednesday almost impossible to process, because we've seen Lin Dunn respond to attacks on Caitlin Clark before, and she didn't repost them. June of 2024. Clark's rookie year. She's getting hammered around the league. Hip-checked, knocked down, targeted. While half the basketball world debated whether the rookie deserved it, the Fever's general manager went public. Dunn posted on X, quote, "There's a difference between tough defense and unnecessary targeting actions. It needs to stop!" Exclamation points. From a Hall of Famer. In public. That was Lin Dunn 2 years ago, the loudest protective voice in the entire organization, demanding the league shield her rookie. Fast forward to this week. The attack isn't physical anymore, it's printed. A column painting Clark as the problem, the burden, the liability, and this time, the same account didn't push back against the pylon. It joined it. If you want to know what this relationship looked like 6 weeks ago, there's a receipt for that too. Late April, training camp. The Fever posted a video of Clark and Dunn together at practice. Clark drains a 3, and the 78-year-old legend celebrates with her like a grandmother at a graduation. Fans loved it. The team loved it. And down in the comments, Caitlin Clark left her own reaction. She called Lin Dunn my everything. Not a mentor, not a legend. My everything. That's not a player being polite about a front office figure. That's family language. Earlier this spring, when the Fever celebrated Dunn's birthday at the practice facility and she broke out dancing in her team hoodie, Clark reposted it, cheering her on. Which means Wednesday wasn't a stranger taking a shot at Caitlin Clark. It was the person she trusted most in that building and deciding the world should read 5 words about a sitting duck. Now pull the camera back, because the repost didn't happen in a vacuum. It landed as the 3rd crack in 3 weeks, all from inside the same organization. Crack 1. The Fever pulled the credential of Scott Agnes, a beat reporter who'd covered them for 12 years, after his reporting on Clark's late scratch in May. The team called his reporting inaccurate and unsubstantiated. The Basketball Writers Association blasted the decision. Crack 2. Dan Dakich, Indiana's loudest basketball voice for 2 decades, branded Clark a complete pain-in-the-ass diva. And when challenged on it this week, he didn't back down. On his show, he claimed his information comes from people inside the organization. People he talks to. People everywhere. Nobody could verify that claim. It sounded like radio bravado. Right up until Crack 3. when an actual member of the front office amplified an article carrying the same message. One fan connected it in a single post. The agenda from people inside the Fever franchise, he wrote, is very clear. They want to protect Steph White, not their star player. And what was Caitlin Clark doing while all of this swirled around her? Thursday night gave us the answer, and it's the part of this story nobody inside that building can spin. Hours after the repost circulated, Clark walked into Gainbridge Fieldhouse to face Atlanta. Before tip, she told reporters she'd been feeling fantastic despite the noise. Then, at halftime, her body gave out. She got violently sick in the locker room, found a trash can by her own telling, and emptied her stomach into it. A diva quits there. A burden sits out the second half there. Caitlin Clark walked back onto the floor. She finished with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. Indiana beat Atlanta 83-71, and Clark spent the night defending like her reputation depended on it, which, this week, it apparently did. Afterward, she shrugged the whole thing off. I had to throw up, but you just keep playing, she said. She loves this game. She's competitive. She'd do anything to help this team win. Her words, the same 48 hours her own organization let sitting duck circulate, she played sick and won. The audience saw all of it. And the response from Fever fans this week wasn't confusion. It was something closer to heartbreak curdling into anger. One reply tagged Dunn's account directly. Just trade Caitlin if she's a burden. Another was blunter. Trade CC. This organization is a joke. Across the threads, fans kept landing on the same comparison. The franchise has spent more energy this week protecting its coach than it has spent protecting the 24-year-old who filled the building. Read those again. These aren't trolls from rival fan bases. These are Indiana fans, the people who bought the jerseys and the season tickets, telling a championship-winning legend that if her own star is too heavy a burden, send her somewhere she's wanted. That's the damage one click did. Which raises the question of what Lin Dunn has said since. As of this recording, nothing. No clarification, no follow-up post, no statement from the team explaining what a senior advisor meant by amplifying it. And look, fairness matters here. Maybe Dunn read that column as a defense of Stephanie White, a coach she surely sympathizes with. Maybe a 78-year-old hit a button without weighing how a repost reads when your title says senior advisor. That's the kindest version, and plenty of longtime fans want to believe it. But this was never about one retweet. It's about who hit the button. When the most beloved figure in franchise history amplifies the hunting season framing about her own #1 pick, silently, with no walkback, every fan watching learns the same lesson the Agnes story and the Dockich story already taught them. Inside that building, defending Caitlin Clark is no longer anyone's job. The woman who once typed, "It needs to stop," stopped. So now it's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Barclays Center, against Breanna Stewart and a Liberty team the oddsmakers favor. A road game on a big stage, 2 days after Clark played through sickness, and 3 days after her own organization let the world believe she's the problem. She's 5-4. She's answered Dockich, she's answered Atlanta. Every answer so far has come on the floor, because the people paid to answer for her off the floor keep going quiet. Lin Dunn drafted Caitlin Clark to be the future of this franchise. Saturday night, that future walks into Brooklyn alone, and somewhere back in Indiana, the woman who called her name on draft night will be watching. The question is the one Fever fans have been asking since Wednesday. Whose side of that article is she on? Let me know what you think in the comments.